guys, this is Chad with Tempest Overland. We are down here working on the Subaru today. This might actually be the first video I've done with the Subaru, but anyway, we're gonna do a good walk around. I just kind of tidied up the front bumper a little bit. So I'm gonna walk you guys around through the car on this one, show you kind of what we've done to this, maybe what we might be planning in the future. I'm kind of up in the air with this car a little bit still, as far as what I want to do. But anyway, I got the bumper tidied up finally. I've been working on the bumper for, oh God, probably like 6 to 8 months. I've just been tinkering a little bit at a time, and finally I was like, all right, I'm just gotta buckle down, I just gotta do it. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour of the Subi and tell you a little bit about it. All right, so we will start here with the front bumper. So this is actually a little bit of a hodgepodge. I'm sure you can see it says ADD. So I found this Addictive Desert Design Chevy bumper for 150 bucks, and I figured steel's pretty expensive these days, so we cut it up. Yes, it's definitely not my prettiest work, but again, this is my beater Subaru. I have like 3 grand into this car as it sits, wheels, tires, everything. So don't be judgy on the welds, okay? So I originally had these all the way out here in the corner, but after I got the tires and stuff on, they didn't quite clear a little bit. So we've got it attached into the subframe on one side there. This is actually the original subframe feed into the car that has the original bolts. We did some shackle tabs. Coming back down under here, we did bend this up and tied it into that cross member. But I mean, you can see it's hugged real tight to everything. Protects the oil pan, protects the front impact bar a little bit. Have some fun. I mean, I have scraped the shit out of this. So these, you can see, say Boss snowplow on them. So what these are is these are a LED low beam, high beam, and turn signal meant for a snowplow. This particular set is damaged. It no longer has heated lenses, which for a snowplow doesn't work very well. For my daily driver, works fantastic over the stock lights. So they are just tied into low beam, high beam, and then the turn signals. So they are fully road legal. They're an SAE pattern as well. See, bumper's tied into the subframe here as well on the sides. Again, fed back into the original mount, so it does come on and off fairly easy. Not too bad. I just did it by myself, putting it back on just a couple of minutes. So that kind of covers that there. This hood is black. It's actually red underneath because this is not from this car, but we wanted the hood scoop hood because it looks sweet. All right, so let me get this up in the air a little bit and we'll go over that suspension. All right, so I probably should have also mentioned, so this is a 97 Impreza. This is a 2.2 liter. Now what we're looking at here is Outback struts from a 99, as well as the upgraded brakes. These are dual piston, slightly bigger rotor brakes from that 99 Outback as well. Coming back here a little bit, this is not the original trans either. We'll get to that in just a sec. So coming back here, so this as well, this is actually a complete subframe. So rear differential, brakes, suspension, everything from that 98 Outback as well. The reason being is so we actually took the 98 Outback, rear subframe, rear diff, and then the transmission, which also houses the front differential. That is from a 98 Outback, and the reason being is the Outbacks of that generation came with the same 2.2 liter engine, but they actually had 444 gears in the differentials, as opposed to this car would have came with either 390 or 411s. As you can see, we did get rid of the big giant muffler. Actually, first car that I've ran in a while, so this is actually a bit of a mistake. I just didn't like the big ass muffler that hung down. So I welded this on because it looked nicer, and then I forgot, oh yeah, that's the muffler of the car. So, as you can see, I fitted in a 30-inch MagnaFlow glass pack that I had, because it was the biggest thing that I could fit under here, and we had to do some minor clearancing to make sure it would fit, but everything does. So that covers all of the suspension. All right, so I got to turn back around here. So we just kind of talked about the suspension, that this has 411 gears. So on top of that Outback suspension as well, in the front here is an 1.5 inch spacer on top of the struts, and then in the rear we just have a 3/8 inch spacer to level the car back out. I originally only had a 1-inch spacer up front here, but after we did the tires, we did have some clearance problems. So I'll show you here. We did cut a little bit here, not bad. I mean, you can see the mark from the old mud flap. We only actually had to cut about 1/2 inch off from down here, and I just tapered it up. to retain as much of the inner fender liner as I could. So these are 14x7. They're a 4-inch back spacing Bassett Racing wheel. They are a 5x100 because I did not want to run an adapter on this car. It'd be too wide. These do stick out pretty far. And then these are the Maxxis Bighorn MTs in a 27x8.5 R14. They're basically meant for a razor, but they are street legal. They're 6-ply. They're definitely heavy. God, they're obnoxiously loud, but it really just makes this car pop, and it's super fun. All right, we've got the car back on the ground, and now I haven't driven it, so it's a little bit taller than actual ride height. So as you can see, we have the Baja designs. These are the combo pattern ambers as our ditch lights, and I really just put them on there because I had them as some extra sets. Those mirrors are a little bit larger than stock. Those are also from an Outback, but those are actually from a early to mid 2000s Outback. So they bolt right on, but obviously the wiring does not work the same. So we got a little bit of mirror upgrade. Inside we have these sweet custom red leather seats that were from an Impreza, but not this Impreza, but they're awesome. They're super cushy. You just got to live with the fact that they're bright red. I did have to make a center console because these cars never came with an actual armrest. The parking brake has never worked, so yes, it does interfere before anybody asks. Up on top here is a Prinsu rack, custom fit to this car. It was one I had left over from my old Explorer build, and I had absolutely zero luck trying to sell it, so I decided to cut it up and put it on this car. So we chopped all the crossbars down to a 42-inch width. I actually welded studs onto the roof, and I used a universal mount foot with some nutserts to hold the middle foot. Military surplus case, throw some recovery gear and stuff like that in there. These are a rigid. These are meant to be a fog light, but again, something I had laying around. They're an OEM mount, so they're super goofy. They're not really useful for a whole lot of things. So I tossed them on the back of this car. I don't know how useful they're really going to be because they are a very flat projection beam, so I'll show you guys that. Looking around, this is just a wing that I found on a road trip one time for 50 bucks. This is not an RS. It just looks sweet, so I put it on there. We got 15% tint on all the windows. I just got the windshield replaced, so we haven't done anything with that yet. I'll show you inside the back. This is my custom rear seat delete because this car had no back seat in it when I bought it. So it's just a platform really meant for my dogs, but I did weld up a little steel brace to build the console there, and it's just plywood and then a bedrock bed liner over the top to give it a little bit of cushion. We'll show you in here. Spare tire. Spare tires are important. Apparently so are spare parts, because I always have spare parts floating around in my cars for no reason at all. So I made this. I took the old spare out because I have an 8-inch sub in here. So this actually just leans on the sub. I welded this little cage kind of together that runs around the back. You can see there's a little hook mount on that there, and just a little hook here, so the ratchet strap runs through, holds the tire pretty firm. The reason I welded up the little cage and stuff is because this is my daily driver and my grocery getter, which is actually hilarious. I get so many funny looks. But I literally did that so that way whenever I'm getting groceries, my stuff's not flying down into this little cubby. I do keep, this is just a small little air compressor, and then back there is my tool bag that has all my goodies for changing a spare should I need to. So that pretty much wraps up everything on the Subi. All right, so that is kind of the general walk around of the Subaru. For the most part, that covers just about everything. I'm sure I've forgotten some other little odds and ends. Feel free to ask any questions if you guys want to build one like this. This is the 95 body through 99, I think it is. But it is an awesome car, and I absolutely love this thing. It is such a fun time. Surprisingly, so with the 444 gears, even to still be in the 2.2, it's definitely not a powerhouse. It'll still do 80, but I actually still get about 17 miles to the gallon around town, which is pretty impressive for something like this. So thanks for watching, everybody.